All right, it's that time, people. That time to get into the beautiful world of sporting action, taking a look at the stories from over the weekend, bringing you analysis and, of course, your very, very valuable and much needed contributions as well. Welcome into the locker room on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. My name is Ayokunmi and 17 minutes past 8 a.m. Welcome along to the best sporting show on Nigerian radio. That and a bag of chips as well. It's going to be a great one, as always. Joining me to take a look at the stories is the one and only Sports Amazon herself, standing tall always. Even though she's not in the studio, I know she is. Tega Supreme. Good morning to you, Tega.
Did you just say standing tall?
Yes,
Aya,
I did. I did.
Aya, are we telling lies again?
I
Good
don't do
morning,
stuff.
everybody. You don't lie after Ramadan. Good morning, everybody. Um, this was a great one. This weekend, there's nothing that did not happen this weekend. So first of all, early hours of this morning, it rained in Miami, so it delayed the ATP Miami finals, the one that Djokovic was supposed to play and get his, I think, 100th title. Jakob Mengsik said no. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about that this morning. On the men's side, on the women's side, Sabalenka did as usual. Completely blitzed through Jessica Pegula. We'll talk about that. Also, we are preparing for this week's Premier League because every other league resumed with league football. In England, they resumed the FA Cup. You know, their one is always different. Best league in the
Always.
world. Always different. So we'll talk a little bit about the FA Cup, but more importantly, this midweek, there are a lot of fantastic matches to look out for. Starting with a London Derby tomorrow, we will touch on all of that and more. All right, so all that and more coming up inside the locker room. And maybe if we have time, we'll see what's happening in the NBA. But first of all, it was a fantastic weekend and a shocking weekend for some people because Novak Djokovic fans did not want me to hear a word. He stopped by Lionel Messi stopped by the Miami Open, and then he came on in a game, and 2 minutes after he scored a goal, and everybody was talking about, you know how it is when Lionel Messi wants to score a goal, everybody prepares with their phone camera. Fortunately for them, they caught him. He scored a goal, and that goal ended up being the winner for Inter Miami. They won that game by 2 goals to 1. And everybody was like, oh, yeah, he took a picture with Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic is going to get his 100. I was like, do you realize that he took a picture with Jakub Mensik too? So,
Aha.
so if it's
Well, yeah.
about pictures, all right. So I can't wait to see how Novak Djokovic fans will cry this morning because crying they will do. But before we wait to hear from Novak Djokovic fans and every other fan that will come on the show today, Ayo, tell us how can we be part of the locker room this morning?
All right, you can join us in the locker room this morning, as you always do, by sending your messages into us on WhatsApp. The number is 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 That's the WhatsApp number. Now, if you want to join us on YouTube, which I strongly advise that you do, the YouTube link is Smooth 981 FM Lagos. All you need to do is go to your YouTube app or youtube.com/. Smooth 981 FM Lagos and leave all your comments in the chat box there. I will take them guaranteed. Studio line is 0201 4489981. Always good to have that number for if and when we do decide to open up the phone lines. All right, let's jump into the story starting in the world of tennis. And it's all about the Miami Open, where world number one, Aryna Sabalenka, powered her way to the Miami Open title on Saturday, beating American Jessica Pegula 7-5-6-2 in the WTA 1000 event at the Hard Rock Stadium.
In fact, so was always going to be a beatdown. So Sabalenka has now it's a 7-2 head-to-head against Jessica Pegula. Prior to this final, it was a 6-2 head-to-head against Jessica Pegula. Prior to that, it was a 6-2 head-to-head against Jessica Pegula. So when they both made it to the final, and this, remember what I said about Jessica Pegula playing? She plays well, but she's not one of those players that will overly extend herself. And I don't think it's because she's a billionaire. I don't think so. I just think that that's her style of play. There's some people that are easygoing, like Sloane Stevens. Um, they don't necessarily push, and because
But it
they are
can
not
take you,
big,
but it can only take you
yeah,
so far.
yeah, but I mean, it can get you some results against certain players, and because they are not big hitters, it makes their game struggle. Also, players like
Mm,
Madison Keys, who beat Arena Sabalenka in Australian Open, she's not one of those who that necessarily fights. But she's a big hitter. So when her ground strokes and her serves are working on a day, she can beat a Sabalenka.
right.
It's not that they don't fight, but they are not known to be rugged or dogged. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Is they fight, but they're not known to be rugged or dogged.
Okay.
And if you're not a big hitter, sometimes you need to be able to be that player to beat somebody like Sabalenka. Sabalenka released through this tournament without dropping a single set. Then she came to a final in a head-to-head where she had clear advantage. I thought it was going to be a beatdown. The first set was even too close for comfort. I thought it was going to be 6-2, 6-2. That's how easy I thought she was going to have it. But Jessica Jessie Pegula put a little bit of a fight in the first set. She still lost that, and then she went on to lose the second set 6-2. So, congratulations to Sabalenka. She says she's a bit calmer now. It's showing on court. Before she used to just really throw tantrums. Now, even when she's frustrated with herself, you can see her show some frustration, then
Right.
gather herself together and get back on court. So improvements, especially psychologically, on court for her. On the men's side, yes, the men's
Ah,
side is where,
here
is
we
where
are.
people are crying. So Jakob Mensik, 19-year-old. I told you that the generation that was the poor generation was Zverev and Medvedev's generation. 19-year-old Jakob Mensik plays all the way to the final. Brilliant tournament so far. And then he's facing Novak Djokovic. Now, for most people, they'll be like, okay, we've done the best we can. We are up against Novak Djokovic, the one who has won the most Masters title. I have nothing to lose. I have nothing to prove. And
Mm.
they play what they can. Jakub Mensik said, whatever game you got, Novak Djokovic, I'll up it. Now, clearly, Novak Djokovic had an eye ailment. I don't know what was wrong with one of his eyes. I don't know. Um, but Jacob was like, whatever is wrong with your eye, I will beat it out. Like he refused, he was unbothered by what was wrong with Djokovic's eye because Djokovic is that guy. You know how it is. Even that's why when he has a real physical ailment, people are like he's pretending because he's the guy that will say, I have a muscle tear, and then he will go on to beat you. So if Djokovic is down, make sure he's really, really down.
Mm.
And with all the drama that was going on the other end, he was still able to go the 2 sets that he lost. He took it all the way to a tiebreak. In fact, Novak Djokovic came from a 5-love down in the second set. 5-love. He fought his way back and
That's
then took
wild.
this exactly, and then took this match all the way to a tiebreak before he eventually lost in the tiebreak to Jakub Mensik. Which is why I say, if his eye is paining him, beat it. If his leg is paining him, still beat him. Don't be bothered. Players like Carlos Alcaraz, and Djokovic knows the kind of player he can try this against. Because I remember when he beat Carlos Alcaraz, he was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for Carlos Alcaraz. He didn't know whether his opponent was going to retire or not retire." So he knows the psychological effect of all this showing that he has an injury on the other side of the net. But Jakub Pesik is from Czech Republic. He has seen many things.
I can just
Do
imagine.
you understand? Your eye ailing you is not his problem. He too has seen war, or his people have seen war. He's 19, he hasn't seen war, but his people have seen war, so he's not even bothered by all the drama. So it was the fact that he was focused and he was calm. Rain delay, he was calm. Novak Djokovic struggled with some eye ailments, he was calm. Novak Djokovic coming back from 5-love in the second set, he was calm. Even in the first set, I think he broke for a 2-love lead and Djokovic came back. But the second set was one that was stunning because it looked like Djokovic was down and out. Then 5-love, Djokovic comes back to 5-1, 5-2, 5-3, 5-4, 5-5. And then he was still able to gather himself together and go on to win that. That's some mental toughness for the ages. And so this generation is looking a lot tougher now. Djokovic, if Djokovic were playing against the Medvedev Zverev generation, he would have won this title. Easy. But this generation with Fonseca, with Jakub Mensik, led by the people that are maybe 2 years older, Carlos Alcaraz, Yannick Sinner, they are not giving any room. They're like, it's our turn now. We are not next generation. We are generation now. So yeah, tough one for Novak Djokovic. It looked like he was certain that he was going to win this, but Jakub Mensik said no.
The world of tennis is definitely in good hands. You have the Mensiks of this world, the Andreevas of this world as well, doing absolutely huge things.
Yeah, exactly, doing huge things. Yeah.
It's going to be a great couple of years to see in the world of tennis. All right, let's switch gears from tennis to the world of football, talking about the FA Cup, where Manchester City came from behind to reach the FA Cup semi-finals with a 2-1 win over Bournemouth on Sunday, but victory came at a cost as Erling Haaland hobbled off injured.
Yeah, and that was the tough one. I did not understand why the referee didn't give a free kick for that, because I saw that it was a foul. You know, the ball looked like it was going out, but the player held on to Haaland's leg and he twisted that ankle. It was always going to be tough for them. He eventually he hobbled back, tried to play a little bit, he couldn't, and had to be substituted. But not so easy for Manchester City to come through Bournemouth. They got a penalty first for handball. Erling Haaland missed that penalty, and given the form that Manchester City is in and he is in, it wasn't surprising that he missed the penalty. He missed that penalty. Bournemouth, almost immediately, Bournemouth went on to take the lead and looked like they were going to score a second before Manchester City eventually got back into the game, winning this game by 2-1. So tough one for Manchester City. They are already in a bad spot. They don't need to be losing players, and losing a player like Erling Haaland can be tough. The good news for them is that they bought Mamouche in January. Mamouche was the one who scored the second goal. My goodness, I don't know what I love him because he's African, or I love him because he's dogged. Either way, I always wait to celebrate a Mamouche goal. However, they still have Mamouche. Maybe not as lethal as Erling Haaland yet, seeing as he's just coming into a new league, a league that is more physically exciting and fast-paced. But he has still scored brilliant goals in the league that show that he has great potential. So sad loss, but the good news is that they have somebody to fall back on. However, that victory, whatever joy they would get from that victory, will be tempered by the fact that they won, but their semi-finals is against Nottingham Forest. And if you followed Nottingham Forest this season, you will know that where their form or the quality of players hasn't carried them to, their form is taking them to. Absolutely brilliant team in the Premier League and in the FA Cup. The FA Cup, they had to fight through Brighton. And Brighton had ample opportunity, especially in extra time, to go ahead and win this one. But Nottingham were resolute defensively, knowing that if they took it to penalty, for some reason, they had the advantage. And advantage they were able to come through that. So it is Nottingham Forest taking on Manchester City in the semi-final, and then Aston Villa taking on Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is they're doing great things in the semi-finals, in the FA Cup. So let's see if their greatness will continue all the way through.
We shall see. The FA Cup last four already set up. It's going to be interesting to see if Pep will be able to at least get something
this season. Nottingham Forest said no.
Season. But Forest, will they get lost in that Forest? We shall find out in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Let's take a very quick break. When we come back, and we'll be heading to Italy and the Serie A, where Napoli are on the heels of leaders Inter on the Serie A table.
Literally on the heels, so.
I don't agree.
No agree.
No agree for each other. Inter no one come on hand. Conte self doesn't want to agree.
No, but that Inter one, I expected them to win. I was a little, I think, disappointed that they survived towards the end as opposed to winning convincingly. But as soon as they opened that gap, Conte was like, boys, we need to win this.
It's not It's now a two-way battle though. Atlanta are eight. How many points
No, no,
behind?
no. Atalanta and Atletico Madrid in Spain. They don't have the oomph.
I mean, at a point, like, I think Atlanta were like 3 or 3 points or 3 or 5 points behind. Now it's how many
Just
points?
yeah, just behind. They were dragged back into the title race. Remember when Napoli and Inter Milan were saying, "Oh, I don't want it, thank you. I don't want it,
Mm,
thank you." They dragged Atalanta back into it. So I think that's what the difference is. Atalanta didn't play their way back into the Scudetto title race. They were dragged back into it by the failings of the people ahead. Uh-huh.
because
If they
those
played
ones,
their way back, they would have been able to sustain it.
yeah,
It's the same thing
67,
that happened to
64.
yeah. It's the same thing that happened to Atletico Madrid when Barcelona had that horrible November and early December. That's when Atletico Madrid came back into play.
Liga table. See what's going on
It's
there.
3 points too. 3 points there too.
Wow, and Atletico 57. Huh, the tables are similar.
Yeah,
9 points,
uncannily, right?
9 points behind Barca. Then Atlanta is 9 points behind Inter.
Yep,
The run is so it's 3 points between first and second, then 9 points between first and third.
yep.
Wow, what's going on? So
Those are
so
leagues that they mean business.
England and France are the farmers leagues. Even Germany is 3 points.
Do you understand? Even Germany, yes, even Germany.
Oh God. Let's go back. All right, welcome back into the locker room. It's a Monday morning on Smooth 98.1. We love music, we love life, we love sports as well. It's 34 minutes past 8 a.m. My name is Ayokunmi, and the Tega Supreme is on the call. We're having a conversation behind the scenes talking about the tables in various leagues, having a good laugh, really. England and France. Farmers leagues, maybe? I'll let you be the
Farmers
judge.
leagues, oh.
Anyways, you can join us on the conversation by sharing your thoughts. 0809 is the WhatsApp number. Leave your message for us. And YouTube, we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Those are the ways you can join us and be part of the conversation. Like I said, we're going to head into the Serie A, where Napoli stayed on the heels of Serie A leaders Inter Milan on Sunday after beating AC Milan 2-1 to remain 3 points off the pace in the Scudetto race.
Yes, so Inter Milan had won their game earlier against Udinese, and I'm using the word "won" very loosely because it was more like they survived. They survived the hounding or the late minute hounding of Udinese. Um, they led by a comfortable 2-0 scoreline in the first half, but somehow in the second half they kind of dropped the ball, or Udinese came back into it. Either way, brilliant goal by Udinese to make it 2-1, and they almost got a second, but Sommer did his job and saved that. So at the end of the day, Inter Milan, a match that could have been comfortable for Inter Milan, became tough towards the end. And you can't blame them too much. They are dragged into so many competitions, and their key players are playing for their country as key men. I mean, Martinez didn't play on the day. He was
Mm.
wearing street clothes, so that's what they call it now. He didn't play on the day. Had to be rested. You have to also remember that they are still in the Coppa Italia. They are that's the struggle. They're still in the Coppa Italia. They're in all competitions,
In
and
the
they
Champions
don't
League
have
as
a
well, yeah.
in Champions League, and they don't have a great and they don't have depth in squad per se. So managing resources is Simone Inzaghi's priority too, in as much as getting the points are. So this result didn't have to be pretty, but they did the job. They got all 3 points. They opened a 6 point gap. The gauntlet was now thrown down to Napoli, and it seemed like they have the tougher match because they're going up against AC Milan, who pretty much this season have been like I always say, my power supply. Sometimes it's very good, and sometimes it's very poor.
Erratic in one word.
Erratic in one word. And so they came up with their erratic behavior. Napoli opened a 2 goal gap early in the match. Looked like it was going to be a beatdown at some point, but they were able to drag themselves into this game. Now, AC Milan missed a penalty in this match. before they scored that 83rd, I think, or 84th minute goal. So this could have ended in a draw if AC Milan weren't being their usual AC Milan self. So yeah, Conte and Simone Inzaghi really going at it. Just a 3-point gap in the Scudetto battle, and it's a two-horse race because Atalanta has completely dropped off. They lost again against Fiorentina by 1-0 yesterday. A brilliant goal by Moise Kean. So tough one to see Atalanta come back to win this one. But the question is, it's a fight to the finish for Inter Milan and Napoli. Who is going to blink first? That's what we are waiting to see.
That's what we're waiting to see. Two wily old managers. Well, not really old, but you know what I'm talking about. Experience, if I can put it that way, at winning titles there. Okay, let's leave what's going on in the Serie A. Let's head back to England and talk about Marcus Rashford because it seems like he has got his swagger back. The Aston Villa looney ended his 120-day goal drought with the second half double at Preston on Sunday to help Unai Emery's side set up an FA Cup semi-final against Crystal Palace and provide another clear sign that he's enjoying his football again.
Yeah, and he even said, he alluded to the fact that he's enjoying his football again. I don't know what I should laugh at Amorim, seeing as Amorim has a daunting task tomorrow. In fact, you know what? Let's use this to talk more about Amorim since we've concluded on the FA Cup. Because they have a daunting task tomorrow. They face Nottingham Forest. I see Ayo's eyebrows just went up. Ayo, don't worry, to be all right. The beating would be televised, but it won't be long lasting.
I'm immune.
You're immune to all these things. But yes, Rashford alluded to the fact that he's enjoying his football again. Again, sometimes before we start saying that the fans of one club are bad, you also have to remember the pressure of playing at a club with history like that. You know, Aston Villa has some history, but nothing compared to Manchester United. So when you play at a club like that, a club with legendary status and legendary players, there's a different kind of pressure that comes from those clubs. Their fans are a little entitled, which is different from Aston Villa where they're just getting back into it. And any win is celebrated by their fans. So it's been a good season for Aston Villa. But it's also good for Marcus Rashford that he was able to take a break from Manchester United, go to a club where he can build up his confidence again. And let's see because Aston Villa is saying we are not yet talking about keeping him permanently, but we are enjoying what he's doing so far. So there are two questions here. Can they afford his 350k a week being Aston Villa?
Or is he willing to drop his
wage
demands?
To play regular football. So those questions are not yet answered, and they'll be answered in the transfer window. But for now, both of them are enjoying. Speaking about the club he left, though, Manchester United taking on Nottingham Forest in tomorrow's Premier League match. 3rd against 13th, so 10 places between both teams. Now, because we are coming from the international break and Manchester United did not play in the FA Cup, so they are well rested. We don't know how this one could pan out. I know I was mocking you earlier saying that, Nottingham Forest is going to completely blitz you because of the form that they're in. But remember, they played in the FA Cup this weekend all the way to penalties.
That's right.
We're not sure if Chris Wood is back because he didn't feature in the FA Cup. We don't know if he's going to feature in the Premier League, and we don't know for how many minutes. Again, so the legs on the Nottingham Forest players have seen a little more wear and tear than the Manchester United players. So that fatigue can also play into how they perform midweek. And also generally midweek, they don't play really fast-paced football. They're just pacing themselves. So that can play into Amorim's hand, where he can sit back, contain the attacks of Nottingham Forest, and then hit them on the counter. So I know I was mocking you earlier, but there's hope for Manchester United in this one.
Oh, well, we shall
right,
see.
Let's take the next story.
Tomorrow isn't too far away. Okay, let's jump into the Serie A and talk about Barcelona, where Robert Lewandowski scored twice as the Catalonia side reestablished a 3-point lead at the top of the La Liga table with a comfortable victory over Girona at the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah, so the day prior to that, Real Madrid had faced Leganes and they won by 3-2. Some of us are still arguing that that was not a free kick that Mbappe scored. Be that as it may, Mbappe stepped up, took a brilliant free kick, really threading the eye of the needle. So, first of all, I was disappointed in the wall that it split in the wrong place. But then you also have to be disappointed in the goalkeeper. He was beaten at his near post. All in all, Mbappe scored the first free kick of his career. So to get them the win, Real Madrid found a way to get the result against a tough Leganes side who just refused to go down at some point in time. In fact, they even had the opportunity to make it 3-3 when they missed a glorious chance. But after winning that match, it was Real Madrid and Barcelona on the same number of points. Barcelona knew what they had to do. They had to win their match. And seeing that they just played on Thursday, immediately after the international break, they had to come back to play this one. And they were managing players, they had to, I think, okay, for the life of me, Hansi Flick has started to turn Lamine Yamal to Bukayo Saka. You remember how Arteta used to use Bukayo Saka? That's how Hansi Flick is using Lamine Yamal. Because I don't know why this guy doesn't get breaks. Rafinha was on the bench.
Use him like jeans.
Do you understand? He's like jeans, like blue jeans to be precise. Lamine Yamal was playing all 90 minutes while Rafinha was on the bench, resting. They took out the likes of Pedri to rest. The likes of De Jong came from the bench, but Lamine Yamal played all 90 minutes. So we need to be cautious about how we use that boy. But it was a brilliant performance. At first, it did look like it was a Catalonia derby. Barcelona scrambled a first goal in, and then Girona scored their goal, their own equalizer. And it looked like they were going back and forth. Barcelona dominating possession, Girona with the fast breaks. Unfortunately, the fuel in Girona's tank couldn't last. It wasn't MRS fuel. Because at the end of the day, Barcelona was just able to blitz through them with Lewandowski scoring brilliant goals and to win it for them. So good performance by Barcelona, but they know now in the La Liga that they have to win every match to be able to win the La Liga title. Yeah, because Real Madrid knows the job. Real Madrid is waiting for Barcelona to drop the ball. So Barcelona has to win every match to win the La Liga title. 3 points, just 3 points between them. And they don't use goal difference. They don't use goal difference in La Liga. They use head-to-head. The tiebreaker is head-to-head first before goal difference. So despite the goal difference that Barcelona has built, it will come down to head-to-head.
But doesn't Barcelona have a better head-to-head this season over Madrid?
Yes, they've played one.
Oh, okay. There's still one left.
There's still one left.
All right. Let's run through a couple of messages here because time has absolutely flown by. Taya says, if you beat me 7-2, it's no longer a contest, but walk over. Nothing do but a joke for I. And congrats to Jakub, new winner of Miami Open. Who this? Man City overcame Bournemouth only to meet Nottingham Thanos. They will need the new Avengers for this doomsday.
I'm telling you.
Napoli should be humble like Arsenal and claim second place. No, Semen, plenty problem for Conte. And Rashford about to start pointing to his head again. Amram let go of Starboy Rashidi and Anthony, the spinning one. There we are. Victor and
Betis won again yesterday. They beat Sevilla by 2-1. Yes.
This is from Victor says, good one for Man City. Massive credit to Nico O'Reilly. That boy na baller. And welcome back to Ayo, my fellow Man United fan. Victor, I see you. Tomorrow, we ride. Fred says, good morning, Ayo, and good morning to you too. Great starts for the new coach, Igor Tudor. I hope it's a sign of great things to come. Well, slow and steady.
Oh, that's for Juventus.
Yeah, that's for Juventus. Uluwaseyi says, great to be back, Uluwaseyi. He says, it would be a huge risk for Villa to buy Rashford. They should let him go back to his club. He had little excuse for his behavior at United. He needs a club right now, so he's grinding and working hard. If Villa buys him, they could risk him downing tools, just like he did at United after signing a new contract. And
that's another angle.
Exactly. Olabomi says, Chris Wood was injured on international duty with New Zealand. So happy for Rashford. Patience always, and Amorim just didn't want him. Okay. YouTube, who's talking to us here? Uchenna Wokoye says, nice win for City against my wishes. Forest is a good opponent in the next round. League is back. Can't wait. Barcelona powering in La Liga. Inter Milan as well. Novak, beginning of the end. And Messi, king. And Abiodu Ubisheson says, what a weekend for the Catalan Kingsmen. Barca, Messi, and Pep doing Odogu things. Madrid, Madrid robbed Leganes for the record. Mbappe didn't score a direct free kick. Lewy not giving up on Pichichi. True story. True story. All right. We need to call it a
On that
morning.
note, yes, thank you so much for joining us on your public holiday. Hope you're well rested and hope you have a great one. Thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. Till we come again. Ayo, this is the big salad to me. Please bring my food. All right. Have a fantastic week, everybody.
Have a fantastic week. I'll take that under advisement. See you on Wednesday. And thank you all for keeping it tuned to Smooth 98.1, your love music, love live station. The Smooth Breakfast is going to kick on 9 o'clock. It's a conversation on Lagos Talks. We're talking speed limits. Yeah, Lagos State, it's a new thing going on. And I really love to know your thoughts on where you stand on that particular one. It's going to be an interesting discussion. Don't go anywhere.